Greetings, Greg here again with another video helping you transform your business, helping you transform your life. In this video, I'm going to show you a very exciting tool inside Odoo, Odoo Studio, especially Odoo Studio version 15. This is a really slick tool. I'm going to ask you once again to go down below, click like and subscribe to me please, and leave a comment if you can. It's really been helping. The last couple of videos people have been leaving comments and it really does help. You can immediately see that it helps in YouTube for my channel when people engage with the content. So thank you very much for that. Now, I'm going to use an example in Odoo Studio that is a real world example I've actually used with a vet clinic myself. And it's basically being able to just add some functionality so Odoo can work with a veterinary clinic and have animals and so forth and procedures and things like that. And obviously building out a full entire vet app and clinic is outside this scope, but even a lot of times in businesses, having something is better than nothing, and having some ways to collect data and collect information can help a lot of small businesses get started. I'm going to get started right away, and I have a empty Odoo database installed right now in Enterprise, because obviously you need Enterprise to do Odoo Studio. If you'd like, leave a comment down below if you'd like me to do the same exact things I'm doing here, but do them in developer mode and community. It's a little more complex. It's not quite as fancy, but you can do everything that I'm doing here. You can actually do in community with developer mode. And so, comment below if you'd like to see that. And so we're going to begin by installing what we need to actually build this app. And the one thing I am going to install is sales, because we know we're going to want to invoice. We're going to want to have the ability to create sales orders and quotes and everything like that, and the contacts that come with sales. So we're going to go ahead and install sales. And of course, in addition to sales, we're also going to have Odoo Studio itself, because it is an app that you install. I'll install that real quick. All right, so this is going to be pretty amazing, because we're going to build this app really fast, and we're going to get a lot of functionality without a whole lot of effort, without a whole lot of work. So in a vet clinic, really the piece we're missing is some way to manage the animals themselves, the pets that come in, attach them to owners, and keep track of their procedures and things like that. There's just not really anything like that built into Odoo, and that's what we're going to do here with this. So we're going to come in here and click on this little icon up here that says Toggle Studio. And at this point, we're going to get an icon that lets us create a new app. So we click this new app, welcome to Odoo Studio, and we're going to call this Vet Clinic. And notice that we can design our icon or upload a new one. I'm not going to go into anything crazy with this. We'll just maybe put a little heart there and maybe just change the color of it. And but you can make the icon whatever you want. And now we need to choose a name for our first object. And because we're dealing with animals, we're going to name our object Animal. And I'm going to go ahead and create this new model. And this is the really coolest part. This has been since, Odoo 14 at least. So this isn't new in 15, all of these things. But this is really nice because it lets you create these features on top of our model already. So we know we want a picture for our animal. We just know that. And we probably want a way to assign dates and visualize records in a calendar. So this could be like used for their birth date. We know that the animal, we might want to keep notes on the animal. And this user assignment, it says assign a responsible to each record. Well, that could be our primary vet. The contact details, get a contact, phone, email fields. This can be the customer, the owner of the pet. We could have tags to sort them by, like, if they're aggressive. We could have a tag for aggressive, a tag for a special diet, a tag for if they have seizures. All kinds of things like that would allow you to categorize them and at least have some way to see if there's something special about that pet. And now the lines, this is really neat because this is Odoo 15. This is new, that it lets you create in this wizard a submodel, like a child model that lets you have line items in it. And so the example you would be familiar with is a sales order. You have a sales order header, and then you have the line items on that sales order. Well, in this case, this actually works really well for us because pets could have procedures, and they will have procedures. So they might have an exam. That's a procedure. They could have surgery. That's a procedure. They could have some instructions for a special diet or some other things. But anything that would be classified as a procedure, we can use the lines to create those procedures. So this is nice for us. And we want the chatter so we can log notes and send messages and communicate and schedule activities. and schedule activities, obviously one of those activities will be appointments to come in. So all built in. Adding this model to Odoo will almost give us a full working, semi-working vet app, just like right out of the box. So we create your app. And just like that, Odoo takes us to our animal view here of what the form is going to look like. And already we can see we got a lot of functionality here. I'm going to close out of the Odoo Studio here so we can actually see how it looks. And right here we could put in the name of our animal. So bird. And we can have a contact, which could be obviously the customer that is goes with this particular animal. And we can come here to responsible, and this would be like the veterinarian, the list of all the people, users. Tags, we could say seizures. And she in fact does have seizures. And so birth date, so this could be a birthday here. I'm just going to pick a random date there. And then our procedures could come down here, so we could have a nail trim. And it just names now. They don't give you much with it, obviously. Visit, exam, or whatever. And of course we have over here the message activities that we can log notes, schedule an activity, you know, for like an appointment and things like that. We also got our pictures here. So we can hit edit, pick the picture. We got the picture of the animal there. So just like that, we've got kind of a way here in animals to list them. We can come here and have a list and contacts and filters. So a lot of nice functionality like out of the box. Now, obviously there's a lot more we want. One of the things that's obviously missing is extra information. Like we don't have other information we might want to collect on the pet, such as the weight, or we might want to have the breed. And so we're going to walk through some of that like right now. So I toggle the studio, and so we're back in the edit mode here. And so let's go ahead and like spayed and neutered is common, and we could just go ahead and add that. So I can drag this one over, and it's a checkbox, yes or no, and I can come in here and say spayed / neutered, like that. Not animals are obviously spayed or neutered, but it shows how you can easily add a field you might need to it. Another example might be like a rabies tag, and I'm going to show you how you can just simply add a text field here for, in this case, I'm going to say rabies tag. Phoebe's doesn't have rabies. So this could be the rabies tag. In some states, that's required, and you have to have that. You have to have it readily available. That could be an example. Another example I had mentioned was weight. So we could use this decimal field here and drag it in. Maybe we'll move it up a little higher because weight might be a little important. And we'll just say that this now is weight. What I want to show you now is the many to one. So we can create another model and hook that model up to this one. Now we're kind of seeing a many to one already. If I come here to this contact, you'll notice that this widget here says many to one, and that's because this is hooked up to the res.partner model, or the contact table inside of Odoo. So we're going to create a new model called species and hook that to the animal. And so we come up here to new model like that, and we're going to name this model species. And it'll tell me if I spelled it wrong, and I didn't. So I'm going to configure the model. And now in this case, we don't need all that other stuff, because for species, we don't really need a chatter for the species. We might want to keep the custom sorting and the archiving. That's kind of nice. And we might want a picture and some notes. But we don't need the dates, obviously, and we don't need lines and things like that. So we're going to create the model, and that's going to create a species model for us. And you'll notice that it adds it automatically to the menu up here so we can easily get to them. And so I'll close this, get out of our animal form here, and then we'll jump over to species. And I'm going to get it out of the Odoo Studio so that I can create some here. So we have bird, and we could actually have a picture here because we included that one. It happened to be the same picture, but it didn't have to be. And then we could say dog, and hook up the dog, and then we'll do cat. So we'll just go ahead and do all 3 of our little samples here, just like so. And we'll come back to species, and they're listed like that. Notice that because we said we could reorder them, we can like this because we might decide that dogs are our most common one. We see the most dogs, and we see cats and birds. So that might be the order we want them in, so that when we come up here and edit and assign that, well, we got to add it. So we'll be ready to add that here. So we added the model, but the model's just like floating out there. So you're gonna like floating out there in space. And so we have to now create and associate the species here in this many to one. So let's see how we do that. We can come in here and toggle back into Studio like that. And now if we come down into here, existing fields, we'll see that there is no species here. We haven't added it to this model yet. We have to create a new field inside of animal to hold the species. So we're going to come in here and grab this many to one and maybe drag them here, and we'll say species like that, and say confirm. And just like that, this field is now added to our model, and we can here, when we close this now, edit and pick from the list of species. So just that easy. We've created a whole new model. We've made an association. It's not that hard to do. And there's a couple of other things we might want to change here. Like this says contact. We might want to change this to say owner, right? Because it's the bird's owner. And then we come here under responsible. We might want this to say primary vet. And just whatever you want to change here, you can change. So it's really easy to use that way. So that shows us how quickly we can get something up and going fast in Odoo Studio without a lot of effort. Now, let's go ahead and flesh out these procedures a little bit. Let's go ahead and see how we could associate these details and get more information here, like a date. Because we want for our procedure, so I'm going to go ahead and back into Studio, we want our procedures to have dates to them. So we come down here to details and say procedures. So the first thing we want to do is label this properly so that we know we're talking about procedures here. And now we can edit the list view. And notice we'll have here is the thing where we can reorder our procedures, which that might have been something we wouldn't have wanted to include. So we should be able to come in here and take this sequence label handle and remove it from the view. We don't want really to be able to reorder procedures. We want them listed by date or by description and things like that. And so now let's go ahead and say that one of the things we do want is a date and time that the procedure actually happened. And then we'll have a description for the procedure as well. And another thing that we could maybe want to consider is that we might want these procedures to be pulled from a list of procedures or tie them maybe in to a product, for example, right? So you could have the products actually hold the list of procedures. And so let's take that approach here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come and back to add, and I'm going to pull another many to one, and I will drop it in here. And in our relation, I'm going to come in here and say product, and we can see product or product.template, and we'll just, usually I would pull from product because we might have variants and things of different like attributes we need to pull. But we'll go ahead and just say product like that. And just like that, now we can add the product on there. And what I would probably want to do is, instead of calling it product, we'll call it procedure, just like that. And let's go ahead now and close this so we can see how that would work. Now, if we come here and we edit and we pick a date and time like that, we come down here to procedure, notice it's letting us pick from products. Now, these are not products we want, right? These are kind of like, you know, we have other things in this. And it might be true, too, that in your example case, like for a veterinary clinic, you don't want all of the products and properties and everything, anything that you have in your product table to show up, because you might sell bird food or dog food, or you might sell toys. You know, there might be all kinds of things that the veterinary office sells, but they're not procedures. And so maybe we still want to use procedures as products because they can have prices, they can have information on them, they can tie back, and they can be put on invoices, and they can be a sales order line item. So there's a lot of reasons why we might want to make a procedure basically use a many-to-one to a particular product, because then that makes it really easy to see when it's time to bill something. You have a one-to-one there. So this is kind of an example of where you might want to filter this. And we'll see how to do that now. So what we can do is we could come up here. So we come down here to product categories. And notice we have all these categories. So I can create another category, and I'll call it procedures. And we'll pick a parent category under sellable, like that. And we'll just say that that's what it is. So notice the category name is actually procedures. And what we should be able to do is we come down back to our vet clinic, and we come down here. And actually, before we do that, let's put in a procedure. So I'm going to come to products. We'll do a simple nail trim. Now, okay, so what we want to do now is pick this product category and label it as procedures, like that. And we can come up under here now, go back to vet clinics. And obviously, this is usable now. Like, we could come up here, edit, and say nail trim, and we'll pull up our nail trim, and we have our procedure there tied to an actual product. But that's we want to limit this filter right here. We don't want to see everything in this list. That's what I'm going to show you how to do now. All right, so this is going to be easier than you think. We just have to jump over in Odoo Studio, and we want to click on our procedure right here and edit the list view. Really, it was just to get in that edit list view. Now we click on procedure, and here you can see where it says domain. And when I click on it, it brings up a nice little add filter thing here. And I can come to this product category name. So I want the product category name to equal procedures, just like that. And I hit save, and you can see that it writes out the domain here for us, like that. The syntax we need. So I can close, and with that one little fix, we can come here, edit, come down to procedure, and notice that the only one that's available that we can choose from is nail trim. Now, one of the things that we could do is, if we wanted to, we could actually show the price here if we wanted to, and pull that over with a related field. So that'll be the last little thing I'll show in this little video, because we want to save some things for other things. If you like what you're seeing, definitely click like, click subscribe below. And if you're really serious about developing applications Odoo and you want to get trained and get up the learning curve fast, make sure to check out my courses below. My Mastering Odoo Development course and Odoo Essentials. I've been teaching this stuff for now almost 10 years. I've been teaching Odoo, and I've helped thousands of people learn how to integrate and customize Odoo. So with that said, what we want to do is we want to add a related field for our nail trim. So I can come over here and drag this related field in, and oops, I need to edit this first. So I edit the list view first. Almost made a mistake. And now that I'm edited, I can come in and drag this related field in. And I'm going to drop it right there. And notice it only has the things that we can really get to inside of this procedure, which was the created date. And then, so I'm going to go here into the procedure. And what I want to do is I want to come down here to our products. There's product, like that. And I can come down here, and we want sales price. That. Confirm. You'll see just like that, there's our related field. It shows $1. It's pulled over. And if we, and so what we would want to do is just say cost, like here. So we'd say cost here, even though it's not our cost, but we're saying it's the cost of the procedure. So, you know, when they're looking at this, we just come here, edit the view. Should have done it while I was still in there. We can edit this to say cost. And hit close. And just so we are completely clear what's going on here, if I come in here to sales and I go to products, that's way too cheap for nails. Let's say $25. And we can come back to our vet clinic and look at our bird and notice the cost is updated to 25. So just like that, that's a lot of functionality to get in here right away. I think it's a really slick system in my opinion. Before I leave you, I'm going to give you one more cool tip, and it's with Odoo 15. Also shows you how you can create a little Kanban view, and it also lets me show a new Odoo 15 feature as well. So we can come in here, and the Kanban view, notice that with this, if we go close this, we really just get the list view and the calendar and the location. We don't get a Kanban view. So I want to add a Kanban, so that we have a little Kanban view here. And the way we can do that is coming over here to views, and there's all kinds of views we can add. Here I can activate the Kanban view, and it just gives us this simple name as all we get to start with. But what I can do, for example, is I can come here and add the image. All right, it's interesting because I know it wasn't down here before, but it moved it to the bottom and it says X Studio image. It wasn't down there as X Studio image before, it was up under image, but we're not going to freak out. We'll just put it up here because it looks like it's going to work. Notice it says just like the size of the image, but if I click on it, I can change the widget here to image. And just like that, we have our image. And I could, at the same time, when I click on it, have it go to the right like this. Might look a little better. Let's see, our primary vet, we put them up here, and then we could have the owner, so that would be owner. Maybe put them above the vet. Let me see if I can pull it to the left. Default, there it goes. But you get the idea. We might have some little glitches and bugs here that we need to work through. It doesn't look like it's going to let me remove that now. Ah, there it is. Let me remove it so now I could have another chance to drop it in. It was acting a little weird that it's down here, but I can't get it at the top. But I can put it here, change it to a image, and you get the idea. But now we have a Kanban view, and I can add the avatar, and that's what I wanted to do. Primary vet, and it adds the primary vet as an avatar here. There's a little picture, so you'd be able to see them. And close, and just like that, I have a Kanban view. Now, I'd probably end up having to get into the XML behind that to make it look the way I want, but you can see how quick you can get things up and going here with Odoo Studio. I'm going to keep this under 30 minutes. I think there's a lot to learn here and to take from it, and how quick you can build a full-fledged app. There's so much more that can be done, more advanced features and things like that behind this. Please, like and subscribe. And as I said before, if you're interested in getting up the learning curve of Odoo development and integration, make sure you check out odooinnercircle.com and my links below. And I'd be glad to help you learn how to implement Odoo and use smart methodologies to make sure that you're achieving the results you expect. So thanks for watching.